Oh, yeah. Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. Right here on Black Liberation Media. In case you didn't know, I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and we are here to bring you that boom bap breakfast. In case you didn't know, with the flow, you know how it go. We got your host with the most. Let me start it off with, you know who he is. He's schooling them all, Dr. Jared Ball. And stay saluting him. You know who it is, Jackie Luqman. Let's get it.
Well, I'm awake now.
Yeah.
And is that the rhyme? Saluting them with Luqman.
Stay saluting them with Luqman.
That's
saluting them with Luqman. All right.
All right. I'm not even mad. That's very, very creative and with a nice energetic mix, you know.
When you freestyling, it's just you got to make the word rhyme, you know.
Jackie, how you doing? It's good to see you, Jackie.
It's not as bad as it sounds, I promise. It's just first thing in the morning, and everything is wanting to get out first thing in the morning.
You have some tea or something?
Yeah, I have my tea, and that's just how it is. So I still sound congested because I've still got congestion, but it's coming out, it's moving. I'm actually, what's today? Thursday. I'll test tomorrow to see if I'm still testing positive for COVID, because I really want to be in Chicago with the campaign and the Moorish Convention, which is a huge 5-day like extravaganza for Moorish Americans. They've got a ball, a formal ball, a symposium, a panel discussion that I was going to speak on, and then a parade, and I'm going to miss all of it because of COVID.
COVID says sit your ass down. And
COVID is not the boss of me right now. COVID is messing with my life.
You have been running ever since.
But
you got better. You have.
It's true, but I'm used to, like, me and Abdus, we developed this. I've always been like that. I've always been like, once I get involved in something, I am 200% in, 10 toes down. I am dedicated until, there's a terrible scandal where, the pastor is found with a, how the joke goes. But that's how I've always been. I've always been very focused on what I'm doing, very much. I just got to do what needs to be done, and I don't even think about it. I just like being busy, and I feel kind of useless if I'm not. But that's not. You're right. That's not always healthy.
Not at all.
And
Doctor spoke. I'm finished. Hey, Jared.
You sure?
Not at all, Jared. Now we talked about that Tulsa King joint, right? You watched some of it.
I've watched all of it. I'm not proud of it. I don't wave that flag like that. But I've watched every second of that show.
Jared,
it's something wrong.
Did you feel him when they disrespected his daughter? Did you feel that scene or what? Did he get Goodfellas status on that scene right there or what?
Yo. Yeah. I mean, I felt and absolutely. Look.
Burn it down, Kim Brown.
Yeah. I was gonna.
Go ahead.
That's a good show, though.
No, I was just trying to give you some room so you could properly introduce her.
Oh, yeah. Kim's known around here.
No, if you don't introduce Kim the way you're supposed to.
Oh, my goodness. Let me see.
I don't need no introduction.
We're not going to have him do you like that. Sir, Mr. Producer.
All right. You know, coming from DC to town, she goes by the name of Burn It Down Kim Brown.
Thank you.
Shortchanging my sister on that intro.
Thank you, Jacqueline, for speaking up on my behalf. Appreciate that.
That's what sisters for. Was that a good song? That's what friends are for.
Did you not see me put that coffee in my mouth?
Keep smiling. Keep shining.
Know when you will always
not the vibrato.
Get it in.
Who was all on that song again? Dion,
Elton John. No,
whoa.
It wasn't Aretha? No, I'm thinking of sisters are doing it by them for themselves. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of.
I think Gladys
Knight.
So like him, I'm Gladys Knight.
Yeah. Damn. That's a damn shame we can't remember that classic like that. Who even sang it? Like
Dion, Gladys.
I mean, that's
Elton
based
John.
on
Elton John, and
there's more than that.
It was one other person.
It
Stevie?
sure was. No.
It wasn't Michael McDonald, was it?
Oh, no. Hell no. You would know Mike.
He was on one of them, though. But he was on one of them with one of them kind of songs with somebody that I wouldn't. Because, you know, he was getting invited to the cookout.
Yeah, he did. No.
Oh, Stevie did play harmonica on it. Yeah.
Harmonica. He didn't sing, though.
Yeah, but somebody else was singing.
Okay.
There's a Grammy version of that performance where it's Whitney Houston and Luther Vandross, and these niggas is way out singing the I mean, they are it's almost a la the Prince performance at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's just niggas showing off, showing off. Whitney showing off, Luther showing off.
Oh, Kim, did you see the kind of like look between Luther and Whitney? When Whitney finishes her run and Luther is standing there and he's like, oh, respect.
Oh yeah, he did. And he's like, no, let me do this.
But okay, now watch a queen do it. And Luther walked in there, walked past Whitney, smiled at her while he was singing and ran that shit down.
Yes.
And,
oh, man.
and all Whitney could do was.
Yeah. Speaking of crooners from New York, come out, K. Franklin.
Keith Sweat in the building.
Oh,
there you go.
True. I am the Luther of all I do.
More like Keith Sweaty.
No, you keep Sweat of all you do.
I wanna.
Won't. It's good to see all y'all this beautiful Thursday.
It is Thursday.
How you feeling? You up? You got?
I'm great today, man. Yeah, I got hydrated, everything. I'm ready to go.
Get off. Got his vitamins. You good to go.
Yeah. You heard the intro. Let's get it.
So we worried about you yesterday.
I know. Good. I got two podcasts today, so you know I got to get on point. I got my last class with my middle school today. I'm thinking about doing a little pizza party for them, and then I got the after school, and then who knows what's after that?
Yeah, good for you, Ear Doctor.
Oh, y'all was asking what podcast I have after this?
Oh, wow.
Oh my God,
Hiram, for real. Hiram.
What happened? What Hiram do?
Hiram. I'm not even. Somebody else going to have to click on that.
One, I don't even know what the fuck that means.
Okay, Hiram said Kamal looked like he washed towels at Diddy's parties. That ain't right. Damn, Hiram. He called you the towel boy.
I chose violence this morning, so you know. All right.
Shit.
That dislodged a piece from way down in the depths of my left lung. That was
damn, like you just standing by the towel bin and people throwing towels at you while they walk by.
Add on to it.
Oh my bad, I just seen the
picture. Descriptive,
not the towel bin, like at the gym.
And Kamal standing there, but these are filthy. These are full on baby oil.
Oh my goodness.
That was mean, Hiram. I say that was a mean comment.
Wasn't it?
Damn.
Let's say mean-spirited. It's too early for all this meanness. We're supposed to be coming together. Y'all supposed to be brothers.
That's that New York. That's that New York Philly shit, man.
Philly?
No, that's Connecticut.
He's Connecticut, D. Come on.
Right.
That's Connecticut.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh my!
The tri-state area. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
we would hope that our brothers, if any of our brothers found themselves stranded anywhere near one of Diddy's or anybody's freak offs, they would turn around and run.
Apparently not back in the day. Apparently back in the day.
I see all these dudes at least peeking their head in to see what was going on. They may not participate, but they gonna look in and see what the fuck going on in there. Like, y'all might peek after that, but y'all peeking.
Mm-hmm. Again, my saving grace is that I would not have been invited. So that's it just, you know.
It's like he come with this capitalism. You getting money over here, broke nigga.
You know these.
What's that book about? He's like, I don't know.
There you go, trying overcompensating Jared.
That's the part that I can't wait for it to come out. I don't care what other celebrities were involved. I want to know what politicians were in there. What members of the intelligentsia were in there. That's who I want to know. Who are the actual folks that was in the Diddy party? My God, I know Eric Adams was in there.
I just want the Gentile list. I'm sick of all the black and Jews on the list. I just need some Gentiles on the list. That's what I'm looking for. Where they at?
So did they do this for Hugh Hefner's grotto and all this went down, or anything happened?
They do this. What is that? I don't know what that means.
No, he never got. He didn't get no real charge.
He didn't get no charge, right?
No, he faded out and then
he died in peace.
Yeah.
No, Hugh Hefner and Berry Gordy is what Diddy wish, the kind of ending he wish he could have. Yeah. It's not going to be coming.
Too late.
Too late.
Yeah.
Word.
That's done.
Yeah, because I could imagine them Playboy parties too. Crazy.
No, that's
you don't have to. We heard some about it with the Cosby stuff. Cosby was there, pilling them up, getting tips.
And there's a bunch of those Playboy bunnies that have came out and told all kinds of very horrific stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's wild because you know how I love my documentaries. I love my scandalous documentaries about scandalous white people doing scandalous things. I love it.
I got one to talk about this morning too, by the way, Jack.
Oh, goody. Because what was I watching? The what would you call the Dreamland murders? There were a bunch of murders in Hollywood, right before the crack epidemic really broke. And the interesting thing about this documentary is that these murders is that they involve the porn star, what was his name? John
Holmes.
Jeremy
Holmes. Thank you.
John Holmes.
Yes, John Holmes.
Nice.
Liberace's boyfriend.
Oh, Lord.
Liberace's boyfriend, Liberace himself, and the beginning of the crack epidemic did not start with Highway Ricky Ross. Did not.
Freeway,
whatever. Didn't start with Black Guy.
Parking lot, Ricky Ross.
Off ramp.
Driveway.
8 o'clock in the morning, I got COVID. Whatever. Anyway, the crack epidemic did not start with Ricky Ross. It didn't.
Okay.
It actually started with Hollywood celebrities and Liberace's boyfriend being involved in introducing crack to them first. And then
so it wasn't the blacks, it was the gays. Is that what we're saying this morning?
It wasn't even the gays. It wasn't the gays. It was the Hollywood stars. It was Liberace's boyfriend was involved in this gang of who were supplying drugs to all the stars. But I mean, man was a drug dealer, so man was killing people too. So yeah.
What's the name of this documentary?
It is.
I know, right?
I know it is very, very.
I gotta add a book.
Do you really want to watch it come out?
Yeah,
absolutely. Are you crazy? First of all, John Holmes was my generation's legend.
Yeah.
So we could start there. That's like the beginnings of porn. You know, and then he got the whole controversy. Was he not gay? Did he not have HIV? And when did he not know? And when did he know? And there was all kinds and then I did see something where he was involved with some shady there's a lot of overlaps with these industries. So
And with Holmes, there's definitely overlap. The documentary is called The Wonderland Murders. Sorry, I really do have foggy COVID brain this morning.
The Wonderland, is that what you said?
The Wonderland Murders. And where can you get it? Where can you get it?
My generation was Wesley Pipes.
We'll find it. We'll find it.
I think it's on Hulu. I think it's on
your
Hulu,
generation?
but it is
My generation
very
was
interesting.
Wesley Pipes and Cherokee and Pinky.
Heather Hunter.
Yeah,
Janet
that's
Was Heather Hunter really the sister of Felicia Rashad and Debbie Allen? Wasn't
No.
one of they sisters?
No.
Was
yeah,
it
that
Roma?
was always a
Those
rumor.
porn stars?
Yeah. Stop fronting. Come out.
I don't know.
Come out
Please.
fronting. We don't have to do that on an early Thursday morning here on the Remix Morning Show. Stop fronting.
Kamal was too Kamal was
Right.
too broke to watch pornos. He had
Oh, yeah,
magazines.
Okay.
Wow.
That's true.
Wow.
No, there was
Leah,
what was the
yes,
the black
Leah,
Latina sister?
Wesley was
Leah says
the
what?
porn names. The porn names. Some of them
Wesley
you gotta give
Pipes.
them some like that.
Brian
was a funny-
Pumper, you know about him.
Yo, that dude is disgusting. You know that,
He
right?
said that of all the porn stars, that's
No,
the one
because
that's
he's got a whole side life outside of or sort of on the side of the industry that was disgusting. YouTube has messed my head. Like you can start learning about all these people after the fact in ways that I never even understood,
The fact
But
that
yeah.
you know him, Jared, I respect that.
Who's the guy with the nose? Jeremy,
Jake
was it
Steed.
Jeremy?
Jake Steed. I remember
The dude with the nose,
See, Jared.
black hair.
There's a documentary on him
Is
too.
he got
He
into
was
some
I fucks with JB.
horrible.
Listen, I'm not. Listen.
What was it?
Yeah. He's a mess.
In the
Ron
show.
Jeremy. Thank you so
Ron
much.
Jeremy,
Ron
yeah.
Jeremy.
Ron
Thank you.
Jeremy.
Yes. Yeah, there's a
Kamal is
documentary about him
fronting-
too. He's
No,
horrible.
and
Crazy
then there
right
was
now.
and who was the Latina sister?
Vanessa
She was
Del
really-
Rio.
Vanessa Del Rio.
Vanessa, that's who I am.
You do not front on.
Oh yeah.
Don't
No,
get
I'm
me
not
started.
Say nothing
I
bad
don't want to
about
be
Vanessa
I don't remember
inappropriate,
the name.
but let's be respectful.
This whole
Stop fronting like
conversation
you don't
is
know who that
inappropriate.
is. Yeah, it is inappropriate, but don't you dare. You're my age. Don't you dare.
Do not disparage.
I will not
Madam
have it.
Vanessa.
All right. Okay. So
No, and we used to have to put in effort. The reason I remember is because we had to put in effort.
Oh,
It's not like to find,
Yeah.
to get, to sneak into the back of the off-brand video store, all that kind of stuff.
oh wow.
No, my first view of porn, like there was this in New York, there was this cable, it was a fake cable station called WHT, where you had to buy your own box, but it was on one of those channels like 68. And it would come in, if you don't have the box and you're just flipping channels, when you had to get up and actually turn the TV.
Mhm.
You would just freeze on it, and all of a sudden it would be this wiggly screen, but you saw titties, and I was just like, what's going on? And then I would spend an hour trying to, I didn't have the cable. I spent an hour trying to see if I could make the thing steady.
Tell the truth.
Between the
Yeah, just to be like, it's like
the truth.
Whole
shades
hour.
down.
Tin foil,
A whole
whatever
hour.
it is,
A
a whole hour.
a whole-
GD
close
Pepper,
my
yeah, I
room door
remember.
a whole hour.
60
remember.
consecutive minutes to
Oh,
try
my
to clear up
goodness.
that screen for 5
Yeah.
seconds.
At 13,
In fact,
14, yes.
If you all ever watch the film The Lost Boys, if anybody remembers the film The
Yeah.
Lost Boys, there's a scene in that film where they go into a comic book store. All right. And you get a quick shot, I believe, of a chubby white dude with glasses on, sort of sitting in the back. That's one of the co-owners of that store. I happen to have been in Santa Cruz that summer as they and would go to that store every day while I was there visiting a cousin. In that store, and they had another adult section, and then next door, I believe, was the video rental store and I remember showing up one day and all of it was shut down because they were saying they were filming a movie. And it turned out to be The Lost Boys. So if you ever see that, you see the film, you could see like Jared was in that store like 5 minutes before that.
Look at that.
Perusing some of these celebrities we are now celebrating this
That is
morning.
amongst the more boring of the Jared Ball stories.
It's a national
No, I'm
landmark now.
waiting.
But whether Kim is entertained or not, it does connect well to exactly what we're talking about. Some of what was happening here, I do think it's an interesting little tidbit of a story.
Yeah,
so
not like your regular stories though, boy.
I mean,
we would sit over here like, so then
took off my clothes. It was cocaine.
I'm saying, but no one wants to hear sober Jared stories.
This was young adult film Jared stories.
No. Jared's not in the film. So what?
Oh no, absolutely not. However, when I was in undergrad, someone did show us a film, and before I realized what was happening, I have to admit I did see some of it, and it did feature someone now who holds elected office. And this person said at that time, I'm keeping this for when this person, knowing that was their intended career, would end up where they would end up. And we'll see if anything ever happens with that. So, yeah, it's interesting when your generation grows into power.
The elected official is still around?
Oh, yeah, they in office today.
Oh, damn.
They be black?
They be black.
Oh,
they be black in office today.
All right.
Yeah.
Just say.
So, you know. All right, the tape out there. There's a tape. It's a tape. It's a tape.
They know the sheriff.
He invented Operation Push.
The sheriff of Fulton County, right there, Doc?
Huh? What about
the sheriff of Fulton County appeared in a light porn movie, a soft porn.
Wow.
Oh,
he was what's the sheriff's name again? The Pat Labat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Allegedly. In fact, he was in some movie where he like badly made. I don't think it was overtly like porn or whatever like that. But get this, and so sheriff industry, big macho, dudes, whatever. So part of his storyline was I think part of his storyline was somehow he was having an affair with a younger man. And so there's the scenes with him in bed with a younger man. Wow. And this dude later became, or currently is, the sheriff of whatever.
I met him when he came by the warehouse for the 85 South show, and we had to all stop smoking and stuff because him and some other cops or whatever was coming by for the show. That's wild. All right, well, let's go ahead and get to the Remix morning news and stuff like that. We got a full house today, like that white TV show. So we're going to get to it right here, take a quick break, and be here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's get it. All right, welcome out, y'all. Please like, subscribe, go to the patreon.com and become a member over there and get footage that's rare. Also, you go ahead to the bottom of the screen where it says blkliberationmedia.org and donate. We are demonetized right now, so that would very much be a blessing. All right, with that said, I was thinking about, since it's my last week of teaching mental health at this school, I thought about different scenarios that people might go through and figuring out what would you do if this happened to you. So I thought about this scene right here, and I said, what would I do if this happened to me? Check this out.
Hey, woman, listen here. Since your old man ain't got no heart, maybe you'd like to see a real man. I bet you stay up late every night dreaming you had a real man, don't you? I tell you what, bring your pretty little self over to my apartment tonight, and I'll show you a real man. You want, you got it.
All right, so you're out with your significant other, and somebody out of nowhere comes and just disrespects you in front of your significant other. What do you do? Do you wild out? Who won in this scenario? Was it Clubber Lang? Was it Rocky? Clubber Lang knew exactly what he was doing to get Rocky mad. Rocky could have did it. Said, yo, I know what you're doing. Let me chill. He could have breathed. He could have went later on and punched the puncher bag. But he chose violence. What would you do in that situation? I'll ask you to breathe. But, you never know. Anyway, mental health break. Let's get back to the crew. I wonder what they would do. right.
Doctor, with all the real life videos of actual people wilding out and throwing hands in public, we got to reference a movie scene. It's a movie. It's a movie, dog. Like, it's a movie.
That was one of the best scenes ever.
Agreed, because Mr. T as Clubber Lang was one of the best villains.
Yes,
graced the screen. He did villain amazing. But my point is, there's a lot of people in real life on all the social medias actually throwing hands in public. And we could ask, should those people have breathed?
Or I could have just spent a whole lot of time trying to find that, or could have just grabbed the one I knew.
You wouldn't have spent a lot of time, baby.
You would have helped?
What? Of course.
We're diverging from the actual topic area, which is, what is your question? What would you do?
Thank you. We have got so far away from that, from Kim knocking down my choice.
Presented as though it was a real life scenario, and I'm trying to tell you, I don't think that scenario has.
It's an example. It's an example of somebody disrespecting you.
What would you? It's your question. What would you do?
Yeah, what would you do, Kim?
If what?
See, you ain't even. Can we go to somebody that actually has the answer instead of the criticism?
If somebody were to come up to my man and be like, "Come on over if you want a real woman," I'd be like, "Well, go on over there and let me know how did you enjoy yourself? Did you have fun?" Because if your significant other could be so quickly taken from you, then they should go on. If just a person coming up and approaching, hey, would you like to come take a ride with me? Oh, you want to go? Then go, nigga.
Well, I think you missed
a very logical response. That is not what a dude most likely would do. Yeah.
Oh,
it depends. I think because the point isn't would she actually leave.
Yeah.
The point is to disrespect the man and to make a point about that. That's the intent, at least. So
y'all should laugh and walk off together.
So I think it depends. For me, it would have depended on my age and my partner. Because I have dated women who would have demanded that I fight immediately or the relationship's over. And at that stage of my life, I would have. And so as I was watching the clip, I was thinking he wouldn't have even finished the sentence. There's some interruptive element that would have to occur, whether it was physical or just verbal. Again, depending on now with my wife now, it would be as long as there's no a physical component to the hostilities, it would just be more to what I think Kim is saying. It would have been a laugh. It would have been, man, that's silly. You look funny. I might have walked away with my hand on her butt, something like that.
This is mine right here.
Not that it's mine, but that she chose me. I don't honestly, I don't think of it, not to do the social justice guy, but I don't think of her as a possession. But I think that she chose me, and she would want me to put my hand there as he watches her butt walking, like that kind of thing. It would have been more like, but if I did anything more than that with my wife now, I'd be going home by myself or.
Yeah. I would say it depends on your partner, because your partner would be like, nigga, ain't nobody coming to your little ass apartment. I got a house over here. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that movie, it's very, the movie is very, very old. How old is that movie?
It's old.
40 years old.
We were talking about Tulsa King earlier. Stallone is old.
Mm-hmm. And that movie's when did that movie come out? The
80s,
late 80s or something rather like that. And so that movie is obviously very dated, because the idea that and I know people still operate like this, I understand, but the idea that men are running around insulting women in order to insult the man is just, oh God!
Still happens today.
It still happens.
Absolutely.
That never grows old.
Did I just not say that? I know it still happens.
Yeah, but you started off with how dated it was. I was just like, that's a concept that never grows old.
Yes, it is. Yes, I understand that people still do it, but it is outdated. It is old. Come on, why the hell are people still trying to insult a guy by using a woman to insult him? Just not go at him.
Other men, man. Let's be specific about who does this goofy shit. Men them do this goofy shit.
Okay, so y'all go ahead and finish my comment for me. Go ahead.
I mean, when you start off saying it's outdated and then you say it still goes on, that's contradictory.
No, it's not.
Wait a minute, though. To suggest that women are not doing equally trifling shit to get. I don't agree with that.
Come on now. What are y'all in the shell? That women are just priests and angels?
And describe the scenario
of that.
You telling me a woman?
Yeah, women don't walk up to a bar in front of another woman and go like, "I'll take your man." I don't usually.
There was a whole song called "I'll Take Your Man" by Salt and Pepper.
Yeah, but it's not. The scenarios are different.
That wasn't my suggestion.
Usually different.
My suggestion, not that women have the exact same tactic or approach, but women are absolutely actively trying to disrespect other women and other men by engaging with their partners. Absolutely. It doesn't happen like that. They're not doing a Mr. T, I take your man.
No, more flirtatious, I would say. Because I've had a woman that even came back and was like, yo, I used to be mad flirtatious and my friends told me about it and I didn't even realize I was doing it. Like, yeah.
So I don't think there's a difference in the levels of people doing dirt. I think it's the approach, though, that is specific to men here. And to Jackie's point, I do agree that the overt disrespect of a woman to get to the man I think that is particular for sure, and that's something that is an issue with men still being patriarchal and insecure and all of those kinds of things. But I do think there's a commensurate amount of dirt being done. So
Kamau, and you would do what?
Oh man, can we get off of this?
Okay, we can. I mean,
I would.
You ain't want to be on it as soon as I brought it out, so go ahead, Kamau.
I mean, after forethought, I think Jared's thing is probably closer to the truth in terms of it probably depends on scenario. I doubt if it depends on partner as much as it depends on scenario. Because I don't like I also would not like the fact that if someone is pushing me to do something that I may not be in the mood to do, but if I felt like someone was about to harm or was trying to present harm to the person I was with, I definitely would. You definitely got to jump up in those scenarios. You can't remain sitting down and just being like, I just don't see that part happening.
No breathing and walking away for you.
I'm not a breather or walker away.
All right. That's your mental health break. Let me get out of here later.
The mental health break involving confrontations of the physical variety of somebody trying to approach your partner. Sir.
The only thing that should be getting slapped is the map, though. Oh, sorry.
Let that joint run all the way out. You step into the news. Good morning, everybody. It's the Remix Morning Show, Black Liberation Media, on this good Thursday, October the 10th. Still very much Libra season. Happy birthday to all the Libras still celebrating their birthday month and seasons. We salute y'all. Thank you all so much for being here. Remixers, engage with us, please, on the content. Like, share, subscribe. Even though we demonetize, you can help us out with that. blkliberationmedia.org for your material support. Also patreon.com/Black Liberation Media. Full slate on deck today. We've got Ear Doctor in the cut, starting shit. I'm Kim. We got Jackie, Kamau, and Jarrod. And of course, you all, the remixes, already choosing violence this morning. Everyone's choosing violence. So fuck it. Let's continue. Let's continue with the choisir de violence. Let's keep it moving. So, no shortage of violence to choose from out here in the news. Everybody, is there any particular place where anyone would care to start? Care to begin?
I have one. If y'all
okay.
Go
ahead. Go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah, of course.
So, I don't know how much we've talked about Mayor Adams, but But this has got to be a record.
What's going on? What's the
This has got to
latest?
be so.
Who
Another top deputy to Mayor Eric Adams resigned a day or so ago. Sheena Wright, the first deputy mayor of New York City, became the 7th senior leader to leave City Hall in the past few weeks. 7th. It's like one after another. So really quickly, it says Sheena Wright, a longtime ally of Mayor Adams, has resigned from her post as first deputy mayor, making her the 7th senior official to leave the administration. Ms. Wright has been replaced by Maria Torres Springer, who was deputy mayor for housing. The leadership change was announced, blah, blah, blah. It says news of Ms. Wright's departure came as Mr. Adams' former chief liaison to Muslim New Yorkers, Mohammed Bai, was arrested and charged with federal witness tampering and destruction of evidence in connection with the investigation that led to the mayor's indictment last month. It says Ms. Wright's exit also follows the resignation announcement of her husband, David C. Banks, the school chancellor, and her brother-in-law, Philip B. Banks III, deputy mayor of public safety. And here we have tracking charges and investigations in Eric Adams' orbit. So all these folks have either been charged or have resigned so far,
including the police commissioner. And they ran up into the feds ran up into the house of the interim police commissioner.
Wow.
Look at the listing, B, of people who've either been charged or who seem to be part of an indictment or part of the inquiry in terms of City Hall. Like you said, the series of brothers, high-level officials. I don't know if in the modern era, this ain't since Boss Tweed,
right?
This level of investigation and indictments, and it couldn't happen to a nicer person than Eric Adams.
But
so that's what I wanted to start off with.
Look at the diversity of his the diversity of his criminal co-conspirators. I mean, at least we can say about Eric Adams is that he's not discriminatory in who he does crime with. He will do crime with anybody. That's very,
we
very
do love an ecumenical criminal. We appreciate it. I do admit, I really am. Has anybody asked KRS-One for his thoughts on the hip hop mayor?
No.
Please.
I'm desperate to know what KRS has to say.
I mean, KRS-One. I mean, Eric Adams gave the key to the city to Diddy.
Exactly.
Oh, that's damn. It. The hip hop, the rap community y'all ain't got nothing. Nothing for your hip hop mayor. Though it's interesting that you bring up Boss Tweed. When was Boss Tweed the mayor of New York? In the early 1900s?
I think early 1900s. Yeah.
I find it so hard to believe that Eric Adams was the first federally indicted mayor of New York. That is the statistic that I find very difficult to believe. I'm like, he's the first while sitting in office. He's the first out of Giuliani, out of Koch, and all these motherfuckers. Eric Adams is the first one to be charged federally while in office. I find that very surprising.
Well, my opinion of it, again, I think we said this earlier, is that it's not so much that other crime wasn't being done, but Eric Adams stepped over the line. He thought he was a white politician. He thought he could do what everybody else was doing.
He didn't get Dinkins on his advisory team to tell him how to do this without getting indicted, how to be a black mayor without getting indicted. He didn't take Dinkins' call. He was like son.
When you look through like the evidence, or the indictment, and they include text messages and all of this, and it's all like, delete this conversation when we get finished. Yeah, I always delete our messages, as if this nigga was not the police. Nigga, wasn't you the police? You don't know that the police can check text messages, whether or not they still remain alive on your phone or no. Like, this man was operating as though he himself was not law enforcement. That's the wild thing to be.
Imagine saying some shit and then typing, make sure you delete this. Like, what? At that moment, you should be like, it's a wrap. I'm already done.
Like, oh, damn. We caught.
Yeah, I mean, what are you doing? Yeah, you got to, right. He thought, I don't know. He thought he was, I don't know, maybe
he was above it all. He could get away with it all.
That is ridiculous.
And again, and he has not been, it's interesting to me that I think the governor can force him into resignation or basically fire him. But I think, again, as we spoke about, the person next in line is a very progressive, I think they're called the city advocate or something. I'm forgetting their name, but they're a very progressive politician, relatively speaking, in terms of democratic politics. And the governor does not want that person to necessarily be in the seat. So they would rather keep the indicted Adams as, again, every domino falls all around him, than take him out for the so-called progressive guy who's waiting in the wings.
That makes sense.
So is Eric Adams, what is the likelihood, New York City in the chat, y'all can chime in on this, the likelihood that Eric Adams will resign? Because in his press conference, which was glorious, by the way, I don't know if anybody saw the press conference where niggas was heckling the shit out of him, heckling the shit out of them bougie civil rights leaders in New York. Even the old woman, I felt bad. I'm like, why are they yelling at this old lady? And then the brother in the crowd were like, "No, you used to take up for Giuliani or some shit." I said, "Oh well, I guess she deserved to get yelled at. Fuck it. I guess you gonna get yelled at today, Elder." But is he going to resign? Because the argument is there's no way he can conduct the business of the city while under federal indictment, and his co-conspirators also, the ones that have not resigned, I suppose, those under federal indictment or federal investigation. How can you operate the day-to-day business of 8.3 million New Yorkers, as Eric Adams loves to say? And then he talk about he the pilot. Why y'all want the plane to crash? I'm the pilot. Shut up. So can he maintain office while all this is going on? So
far he has, hasn't he? He's done the bad press conference, like you said, where, like, as always, when black folks get in trouble, they run to the church, they run to the civil rights leaders, they make sure they get into that church, they get them black preachers at the pulpit to surround them. And he had like a Reverend Daughtry. Reverend Daughtry, who is a historical figure in New York civil rights politics, but just because Eric Adams is black, he stood with him. So he's doing all the necessities. He's doing the whole, I can't talk about the case, although I will be proven innocent. But again, when New York City decides to indict somebody, or when they make arrest of somebody, he's the first one on the TV talking about how we've caught some criminal mastermind and blah, 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 before any evidence has been heard against that person. So I think I think his ego is big enough that he is going to he's going to make the governor make a move, because he's going to ride this out. I don't see him resigning. He's Trump, he's a Trumpian type of like personality where he's like, I'm gonna fight this all the way through. No publicity is bad publicity. I will be exonerated. I'm not gonna make myself look bad and quit. That's what he cares about. I don't think he's gonna go anywhere unless he's pushed out.
He does have that energy. Like, I'm just gonna stay here till they literally come and drag me out of here.
And even then, he's looking for a pardon so he can come right back. And then the other funny thing is that they said Mario Cuomo, but the former governor is thinking about running for mayor.
I saw that. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah,
Cuomo, who was the governor under the sex scandal, is now about to run for mayor. Apparently, that's the rumor going on.
Why not?
And you know what? In this final season of the American Empire, why the fuck not? I mean, why not? What a plot twist! Why not?
What's up with the Southern District of the the feds? These niggas is going head hunting. Eric Adams, Donald Trump, Sean Combs. Like, these niggas is going big game hunting out here. Like that, I find that interesting also. Just a thought.
Well, don't forget, it's not just the big fish. The Uhuru 3.
Is that out of the Southern District of New York? They prosecuted that?
It's the
FBI.
Oh, okay.
But the Fed, the feds do what the feds do.
And this whole thing with Adams, it can't help but remind me of what's going on here in DC with Trayon White. Now, Trayon, bless his little heart. I support Trayon. He's young. He was a protege of Marion Barry, or more for life. But Trayon has always been a little bit stubborn, a little bit too easily swayed by messy forces. Just like a whole lot of young folks paid way too much attention to social media and repeated some things that he should not have. Got in trouble a couple of years ago by saying that the Rothschilds control the weather or some dumb shit like that he heard on the internet. It's like, come on, man, you can't stop watching these YouTube. Stop it. That's not news. So he apparently got caught up in some type of bribe situation where he was bribing a contractor, and he's supposed to give them a contract to build a bunch of unfortunately community centers here. And he really was pushing to do that because there are not a lot of community centers in a lot of areas in DC. So I think he was trying to get some of these community centers built, but of course the feds allege that he was trying to give these contracts to folks under the table illegally and get a kickback and all that kind of stuff. He's been indicted. He is of course going to fight it, but there is more information that has come out now about his about the informant. And let me see, is that article? Oh, so that's the one where the prosecutors have now requested a trial date for him because there was not a trial date before. He did spend a couple of days in jail because it was a sting operation. They caught him in this hotel room paying this guy and engaged in this bribe. So he spent couple of days in jail, made bail. And now here in DC, the police chief, because of this one thing, the police chief is like, we need to get rid of all of the violence interruption programs. Like, what? What do you? So when one cop kills a person, do we shut down MPD? No, we do not. So why are you talking about shutting down all of the violence interruption programs? Because Trayon White was allegedly caught in the middle of a bribery scandal. What does one have to do with the other? Why are you going after the violence interruption programs? And all because one of the people who might have been involved was involved in one of the programs, and we're not even sure if that's true. So it's a mess here in DC. But I think Trayon White is about to win re-election for council member for Ward 8.
Well, of course he would.
That was funny.
I think because I just got my ballot, my mail-in ballot, and I'm looking through it and I'm like, shit, who else am I going to vote for to be my representative for the council? I'm not voting for this other person.
So really quickly, it says, according to charging documents, White is alleged to have accepted at least $35,000 in cash during several meetings between June and July. He is also accused of negotiating a 3% kickback on contract renewals and expecting to receive up to $156,000 from the scheme. White allegedly discussed future contracts in the mental health and housing sectors as part of the scheme. It says he said, God is good, God is good, White said as he was being escorted out of the federal court by supporters. He has not publicly made comments about the accusations he has faced.
I didn't realize there was that much money involved in the violence interruption programs. I mean, what was that, a $6 million contract, $5.8 million? I didn't even realize the city was spending that much money on it.
I mean,
$5 million.
Yeah. I mean, that's of course nothing compared to the $500 million police budget.
So, and the DC police proved themselves to be extremely useless. I covered this story really quick on my show, where a man came and set fire to a home where his romantic partner or former romantic partner lived. 3 people died in the fire. This is after residents of the house called DC police to the home 3 times within 10 hours. And then at the press conference, talking about the deaths, the unaliving of these 3 people by this one person, The police chief had the audacity to say, well, we couldn't leave one of our cars stationed out front of the house. We had to put our cars back into service because, we just can't be sitting outside of one person's house all night. It was a triple homicide. What the fuck
She said we were there for an hour. She was proud to report that. She said we left the cops there for an hour.
Yes.
And after all of those reports and the return and coming back and keep it coming, the person kept coming back. It was like a whole thing, but we were there for an hour. Yeah.
Audacity. I mean, wait, well, we had to put calls back in service. Honey, you had a triple homicide. It right there. And your cops was right there and couldn't prevent it, couldn't stop the shit, couldn't do nothing about it. Except unfortunately come collect the bodies. And the fact that the police chief said all that shit with the straightest of faces. But my point, to your point, Jackie, yeah, look at what crime the cops don't stop, right? And their budgets don't take a hit, right? They don't take a hit.
Nope.
Look at all the unalivings in the city that these police allow to happen right under their nose, and their budgets don't go down 1 cent.
That's right. Just a few weeks ago, cops killed another young Black man who was an employee in one of the violence interruption programs. And that was the reason the cops were like, oh, well, because of Trayon White's corruption and his connection to some of these programs, they all need to be shut down. We've been demanding that MPD be shut down every time they kill one of our people. That never happens.
But to be fair to all of you, the chief did say we could only stay at this house for an hour. We had to redeploy the police so that they could go do, Jackie, what you're now saying was done. We can't be abusing everybody around the city if we're sitting in front of someone's house protecting them from a credible threat.
We have unarmed Negroes to shoot.
Right. We have much more business to take care of, never mind all of the other things we know that they support. Every time I was telling my students this yesterday, every time I've never been anything other than, as Jay-Z would say, a customer as it relates to the drug trade. But every time I've actually sat down with someone who was more ensconced in the business, everywhere I've been across this country, the story is the same. Without some level of police complicity and protection, we can't do what we're doing. And a lot of the violence and the hustling would often be about which crew gets which level of support from which police. Both in the importation of the drug and the protection to sell it. So yes, they can't be sitting around in front of someone's house too long. They have many other things to be involved in. Apparently, allegedly. I don't know.
The other interesting thing for me about the story was when we when we look at other countries and stories come out, the first thing the news starts to talk about is the corruption of the government. The reason the economy is this or the economy is that is the corruption of these failed states. Nowhere in the news articles do you get sort of that overall understanding of how corrupt American politics is. That this is not some unique situation. Again, this guy got caught. The targeting of him, probably because he was Black, led probably to him being a higher level profile person that they wanted to get. But the corruption that goes on in terms of these city contracts, and and I don't know anything about the violence protection programs there. Most of it, but the ones I saw in New York, they weren't protecting, they weren't stopping a lot of violence. Let me just be honest. I went the one time when I got arrested, I had to do what I had to do about what is it when you got
anger management.
Thank you so much. I had to do an anger management course. And it was like about 40 of us in there. And it was just like
somebody got to have footage of that. I would pay to see Kamau in an anger management class.
It was young skinny Kamau. Who's like, it's young skinny Kamau.
Angrier Kamau. He was so mad to be in that anger management. The anger radiating off of your body. Just having to be there. The anger management made you more angry.
Exactly. And that's how you feel it. You're like, why am I in the fucking anger management course?
That's what's making me angry.
That's what's making me angry. And it's some old white guy doing some textbook thing. You're like, really? This is what you think is going to? And everybody's there because they got to get something signed. Like, you know what I mean? There's no follow-up. There's no, so even the specter of what some of these programs, I won't, say all these programs are the same, but a lot of these programs are extremely performative. They're meant to say that they're keeping something in order when they have no real life proof or no evidence to talk about what they've done to change things in people's communities. And so, as we've said, like, the system is rigged against stopping any violence from happening because it perpetrates by the lack of resources to community. So imagine what the community could be like if the $5 million was actually applied in the neighborhood, in the community. So it's those kind of things. It's not even the mere fact that, that somebody was involved in bribery, but it's like the whole system operates this way. But it only gets covered in a sense of trying to show it's either one administration or it's one person. And then you have this good law enforcement personnel in the back who are doing their job by weeding this stuff out. Where it's like, they're not weeding shit out because at their level, they're probably involved in their own corruption, so.
Eric Adams.
Boom. Very quickly, David Silberg, I see Jared has seized the time background. Has it been pointed out that today is the 56th anniversary of the founding of the Black Panther Party? I honestly, that's how plugged in I am to the struggle. I had no idea. I'm actually, to be perfectly honest, I really didn't have any idea. This was just, I was looking for a new thing to put up, and this came up, and I just put it up. So
look at your ancestors. Your ancestors.
Look at that. Ancestors moving stuff around.
I mean,
without your knowledge.
See?
That's how they be going.
That's what we do, debunking atheism by the moment on this every day. Debunking my atheism.
On your last day, your atheism shall be debunked. On your final day, with your final breath, your atheism will be debunked. It's fine.
Like, we don't care if you don't believe in us.
What you believe is inconsequential. What is what matters.
We believe in you, nigga.
Right. Right. You ain't gotta believe in the ancestors. They believe in you. That's right. That is correct.
Unfortunately, I just looked it up, and it suggests. I mean, you're gonna have to bring some more proof that 10/15 is the actual date that's given as the founding of the Black Panther Party.
Is that a contradiction? Are they saying David Silberg is wrong?
They are saying David Silberg is wrong.
Said Big Pun is mistaken.
And they said 10/15.
Now rewrite the history books. Silberg don't make mistakes like that. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you. And
still believe in you. That's all.
And speaking of still believing, my bad.
Oh, believe it or not. That's right. Spirit be at work. Spirit be at work. All right. So we gotta
of course, Kamau had to try to find a way to debunk the ancestors.
Yeah.
That is the most Brooklyn shit ever.
You can't.
He was like, nah, B.
You can't.
In my head, I heard of a different date. I was like, wait, is that the date? Is the date a date?
Scientifically, man, energy can't be destroyed, man. Science. All right. So let's go ahead and what?
No, you're right.
I know he's right. It's just
that's delivery, bro.
What he said,
science, yo. I'm trying to put y'all on.
Anyway. Yes, we agree.
Okay, I'm so used to y'all not agreeing with me and trying to.
Exactly.
We say in agreement,
let us
bro.
sit with our discomfort.
I don't.
Let's live in this moment for a second. All right, so we got a dope guest coming on right after this break. So let's go ahead and get to it, and we're gonna come back right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. All right, let's do a remix on the remix right here on the Remix Morning Show.
1990, Chubb Rock jumps upon the scene with a lean and a pocket full of green. The green doesn't symbolize I made it on the top, but Robo-Pop last year was a shot. The tone of the pop like cut shook your butt. Kids are screaming, the media says, what kind of music is this for you to dance to? The man with the plan and the band demands you. Leave the smack and the crack for the whack, for the violin and I'll keep a smile like that. Leave the knife and the gun in the store and ignore temptation sent by the nation. Racial gate cause it's pain needs a new rep. In your heart and mind, never forget who's set. Talking, so when you're walking, you don't just want black on black, remember that
it's important.
Anyway, the shunless one bring forth the fun. No hatred, the summer's almost done. No time for sleep. Jump in your Jeep and pump up the funky beat. Holy, Reaper goes off, yo, smash it, then trash it. You're too young to be plumped in a casket. Just get your boys and bring the noise, then just swing it. And party people sing it.
All right, let me take you to a time and place. Let me take you back to 1976. We're talking about Boz Scaggs on his album Silk Degrees. The name of this song right here is called Lowdown. Mixed with a little bit of 1991. Artist name is Chubb Rock off the album The One. Name of this song is called Treat 'Em Right. Alright, that's what you got right here. A little remix on a remix. So make sure y'all hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Go to patreon.com. Become a member over there. Get footage that's rare. And also, what you can do is you can go to the bottom of the screen where you can donate at blkliberationmedia.org. And yeah, we love it. Appreciate it. And go get your CMOS from Community Movement Builders while we at it. All right, with that said, let's get back to it right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go.
You ain't got to be so bad.
Yeah.
I'm with Brittany on this one.
Say it again.
That was great. I'm just saying I'm with Brittany on this one. That was great. That was great.
Yeah, that was nice.
Appreciate it.
The fact that he brought Community CMOS, you mean?
That was
the highlight of the segment.
The highlight of the whole segment.
I was like, that's
that
right.
That was nice. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? In fact, he just asked me to drop it in the chat. So I'll drop that in the chat for folks if anybody wants to go out and support Community CMOS.
There it is.
A black woman run, cooperative, sponsored by Community Movement Builders. We're looking to get folks to buy so we can extend. So, you know, every time he does that commercial needs to be part of the regular rotation.
Okay. Yeah, I get on.
Yeah, get on that. I like your attitude. I saw that.
All right, let me get out of here so y'all can make space.
Yes, thank you so much for continuing to join us here on Black Liberation Media. We have a fantastic guest to talk about some very important updates in an ongoing struggle for political prisoners and our people behind the walls. So let's get to it. Hey, welcome back to Black Liberation Media. It's me, Jackie Lukman, and we are here with, we've got almost a full complement. We got Jared Ball, we got Kamau Franklin, got Kim Brown in the background, Ear Doctor, producing our producer extraordinaire in the background.
Ouch.
Ear Doctor. And she's not a guest at this point. She's family. ML Smith from Missourians Against the Death Penalty. ML, how are you doing? Especially after the horrific miscarriage of justice, the lynching of brother Imam Khalifa. What's the progress? Is there any more progress on that case in particular? Because there were still people fighting to get the evidence of his innocence exposed and looked at even after his execution. So what is going on there?
Well, good morning, Jackie. Thanks for having me on. Of course, Kamau and Dr. Ball, good morning. So I'll start with that point. I have not specifically spoken to Khalifa's legal team since the execution, but in past conversations, they were going to keep pushing and continue to get the evidence of his innocence, and not just the evidence of his innocence, but to expose, the mishandling, the corruption that went on during his trial. So I definitely believe that they are going to continue. They have, a lot of people, a huge team with the Innocence Project. So I do believe they're going to keep going. And there have been people who have been posthumously exonerated. It's a sad state of affairs that we kill people, then later, decide, or find their innocence. Of course, famously, George Stinney, right? That happened some years ago. But there are posthumous exonerations, and at least for Khalifa's family, we definitely hope that is going to be the case for him and his loved ones, because, screaming your father, your son is innocent for many years, and having the system basically not believe you or believe him, it will definitely help to exonerate him at some point. So that definitely is going to be ongoing. Beyond that, I tell people every time somebody asks me how I'm doing, I tell them I'm here, right? And Khalifa's not, and many other people are not. So the fact that I'm still here and I'm still able to fight, still able to push forward, I don't take that for granted whatsoever. So I'm not okay, but I'm here, and we got to keep pushing to liberate our people. And so, till I'm not here, that's what I'm going to keep doing. So I definitely appreciate everybody's words and love. I got one friend when I came home, because I was out of town. When I had came home, my friend basically like stalked me. She's sitting outside my house, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, where you at? She's like, outside. So, so and I love her so much. So a lot of people have shown me a lot of love. A lot of people have shown Khalifa's family, his son, a lot of love. And so we definitely appreciate that. But like you said, when you started, it's still a fight, right? This country, this state, this system, it kills our people. And so we are still trying to push forward in fighting to abolish the death penalty, fighting for freedom, and all the fights that we're embarked upon. So that's kind of why, I wanted to come on this morning, because we have an event this evening. And I'm really trying to, take all of the outrage, the support, all of those emotions and feelings, etc., that happened 2 weeks ago, and trying to harness that to actually get results, because our anger doesn't necessarily bring results. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to strategize, because that's what the system does. The system just doesn't do what it does haphazardly, right? It's strategizing. These are tactics. These are plans, right? Being carried out. So we need to do the same. So we are having an event tonight, and I'm inviting everybody to join us to talk about, in Missouri specifically, right, how we can organize and work together to abolish state-sanctioned murder, which is what it is, state-sanctioned murder.
So how can people join this event? Is it in person only in Missouri? Is there a virtual option for folks to join? Tell us more about this event and how people can plug in.
Sure. I believe I did text you the link this morning as well, but it's going to be virtual. It's going to be on a webinar or via Zoom. And it is, because we know a lot of people outside of Missouri, outside of St. Louis, wanting to get involved. So it is a virtual link, and we are going to talk about, well, first of all, let me step back. There are, different days that are recognized, all the time in our country for different things. So today, October the 10th, is recognized as World Day Against the Death Penalty. It's been happening for about 20 years now, and it's a day where people who do the work of death penalty abolition, people who have been on death row and are exonerated, amplify these issues, and not just in the United States, across the world, right? So this is definitely like that day for us to amplify these issues. So people can search the hashtag World Day Against the Death Penalty and find different events. Like, things are happening literally all over the globe today concerning the death penalty. But in Missouri, we're specifically using this World Day Against the Death Penalty to bring people to the table about, like I said, how they can support. And the main thing that we need people support I'll say locally in our state, is to show up. I think that we don't understand that, you know, when we're dealing with especially a system where they're caging our people, right? It is not enough to get on Facebook, and I'm just gonna keep real right now. You know how people love to get online and be like, "Free my niggas," you know what I'm saying? That like free homies, whatever. They don't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I don't know what your homie or your niggas did, right? But if you actually want to free them, if you actually want to help them, if you actually want to hold the systems accountable, you got to show up somewhere. Be it your state legislature, the elected's office. If you know your elected officials, go to where they at, like they churches, go have conversations with these people, join together with other people that are trying to hold the system accountable. So we actually need to show up. Just yelling from, you know, your safe space about freeing somebody, probably, because a lot of times when that happens, I think that people get calls and emails and messages from their people inside about the horrors that's going on. I don't think they're just doing it just because. They people probably called them being like, you know what I'm saying, we ain't showered in 5 days. You know, we ain't ate, we on lockdown, whatever the situation. So just yelling free my people doesn't, you know, mean a whole lot. So show up and get involved. And so that's the main thing we're asking people. We're having what we call a lobby day, which is basically we're going to our state capitol and having conversations with those people, elected officials, February 5th. We're asking people to show up that day, who, again, Missouri constituents, and to learn about like what these people are doing. They're literally making laws and policies and procedures, etc., in this building where most people ain't never been. You know what I'm saying? So like show up. So we're doing that. We're asking people to come out to learn more about our process. I know it's voting season, right? In less than a month, we're going to vote, and that's great. Vote, right? But voting ain't the only thing we need to do. We need to actually hold these folks accountable. So that's one thing I'm asking people that can show up, is to show up, connect with us, learn about, and I teach people how to advocate, how to organize. The legislative stuff, it ain't easy. I don't like going to our state capitol. Just keeping it real right now. I hate it. It's a building. It reminds me of a plantation. I just get like ancestors vibes who've been tortured in that space when I go there. And I hate going, to be honest with you. But guess what? I gotta go. All right. That's where they are caging them, the people in charge of caging my people. So I need to make sure that I'm in the room with them to push back on what they're doing. So showing up is the main thing. But other than that, I think one other thing we would love, like everybody else, to do is support the work, be it financially if they can, supporting us on social, sharing, you know, our information, you know, getting on our email list, which we'll talk about that tonight, and having these conversations. Too many of us don't have these conversations in our everyday life. Like, you're not at school, you're not at home, you ain't at the Thanksgiving table. You know what I'm saying? You're not, when your family is together or your community is together, you're not really talking about these issues, you know. So people talk about vacation and who doing what to who, right? But we need to actually like focus on talking to our people about these issues. So I would love for everybody to go home and have a conversation about what happened to Khalifa, right? To talk to your granny and your aunt and your great uncle who done forgot what Jim Crow was for some reason, and to talk to them about the modern day enslavement and lynching of our people, because it happens today. So that's really one thing I want everybody to do: support us, but also send this message out to your own communities, your groups, your churches, whatever group you're in. There shouldn't be any place where, especially marginalized people, are gathering where we're not amplifying the issues that happen, you know what I'm saying, prison, death penalty, all of it, being unhoused, the housing issues. We got so much going on. And just, you know, I'm this morning trying to check on a friend who down in Tampa, Florida, trying to make sure she's fucking alive, you know. So like, we need to center these issues in our communities. That's really one thing I'm asking people to do as well. Just like talk about them to your own community, your own family, your own groups.
You know what, ML, let me ask you this question, because I find that one of the reasons I think that we might have a problem talking about prison justice issues, wrongful incarceration, wrongful execution, execution of innocent people, all that kind of stuff. Do you think we still have an internalized issue of the way we see people that the state has designated as criminals?
That's a great question. I do believe that is true. We otherize our own people, and because of whether you call it white supremacy, hegemony, whatever you want to call the system that does this to us, we definitely take the cues from those folks, and we otherize our people every single day. And I think that it's a situation until it's you, right? Until it's your uncle, your nephew, your niece, your mother, your father, your son, until it's you, you're disconnected from those issues. But as soon as it's you want, number one, you are outraged, right? But then number two, everybody's supposed to help you and get in a fight with you. I talk to so many family members who are outraged about these issues of incarceration, and like nobody listening, nobody want to do this and do that. And then I talk to them a little further. What were you doing before it was your son? Right? What were you doing before it knocked on your door? Right? And I think that that's the thing. We otherize people until it's us, till we are the other. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely think that we latch on to this criminal propaganda that the system tells us we should, and people who do drugs, people who sell drugs, all the things that we criminalize our own people in our minds, and we don't understand it's the system. It is not. I can never blame an individual person for anything without making sure I talk about the systemic issues that got them to that place. It's a failure, you know what I'm saying? It's something where we are okay with criminalizing our people, but when the system, it's like, what happened with that? And so I think that we otherize people. We latch on to these this propaganda that the system told us to believe. And it's doing a huge disservice. So I definitely want people to break down those narratives in their head. I watched yesterday, Dr. Ball, when you were at the blockchain thing. I did watch it last night, and you said you need to investigate like why you think what you think, right? Why do you hold to these views about people incarcerated, people in prison, people in jail, people you pass on the street who are unhoused? You know what I'm saying? Why do you hold on to these beliefs? Who told you to believe that the person in prison is the worst person in the world, but your boss who's been stealing your damn wages for who knows how long, they okay, right? Who told you that? You know what I mean? So I definitely think that we need to like break down why we think these things. And I had to do that at some point. You know what I'm saying? I didn't come out, I had to be radicalized, right? Didn't just automatically one day. I had some inklings when I was young, but it took a process. It took me, one thing, I met this woman who, and I think I talked about this before. Her name was Maria Isa. She was, I don't remember, they were Muslim. I don't remember what country they were from, but they were Middle Eastern. And her husband basically killed their daughter. Their daughter was a teenager. She started dating boys, right? Black boys in high school. This was like back in like the 80s, early 90s. And she started dating boys, which they didn't approve of that anyway, right? She wanted to be more Americanized. And so her dad got real mad at her about this and basically killed her one day. Now, interesting part, the FBI had planted a bug in the people's house because they thought they were terrorists, okay? Wow. So this bug that the police planted caught them killing her, right? But back at that time, like they had to go and download the audio, so they didn't hear it, right in the moment, but later it was captured. But the mother basically stood back and let her husband kill her daughter. I think Tina was 16, her daughter. And for years, because I knew her daughter, I was a little kid, and I went to their store to buy candy because they had a corner store. And I knew the daughter not well. She was older than me, but like she had sold me candy. I had talked to her, and I felt some kind of way about them people for years, right? For years. When I went to prison, I met her mother. I met Maria, right? And I had a conversation with her, and I learned about like her life, where she came from, how she was raised, and basically the fact that like her culture told her that what she was doing was okay. And so I had a lot of and then that was literally like one of the first things in my head was like, okay, the system told you to hate this lady, but it never told you to hate the system that created the conditions where she was allowed to do that. So that was one of my first light bulbs moments, and we need those light bulb moments. We need to wake up from otherizing and criminalizing our people.
Can I just say very quickly that that story and more about ML's life you can hear in that great discussion we had that I'm going to repost as an independent video shortly to hear more about ML's life and how you ended up where you ended up. So that was even though I knew where it was going, it still wasn't ready for it when you said it just now. And like many of the other stories and examples that you share in that discussion that help, I think, not only us understand how you got where you got, but how others might get where you got or are, is so salute to you on that as well. And I just wanted to say hello in person or virtually, since we haven't spoken since Khalif's assassination. And I just wanted to salute you again for your work and continued steadfastness and all of that. So, and again, yeah, welcome back. So, yeah, I didn't have nothing else. I just wanted to intervene on that note in the moment. So, you know.
And I like that assassination. I like that terminology, assassination.
I mean, it's pretty clear. And because when you break it all, when you break it all down and lay it all out step by step, what else, I don't understand how else it could be defined, to be perfectly honest, and especially in the context that you're describing here. So, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us again, ML, how people can participate in the webinar. What time is it? We've got the link up. Can we put the link in the chat again, please? Let folks know how they can join you this evening.
Sure. So it is 6 p.m. Central Time. We're going to start. It's going to be probably an hour and a half. And it's a bit of MADP Landscape 2024 is the link. So 6 p.m. Central Time. We're asking people to get on. It is a Zoom webinar. And I know a lot of people, we are going to give some time for people to express themselves, because a lot of people reached out to us, right before and right after Khalifa's execution. A lot of people were hurt and just in disbelief, right? I think a lot of people don't really believe that the system kills people. Like they abstractly know it happens, but like when it happens, right? I mean, I literally have had people tell me that before. I didn't think they were going to do it. And I'm thinking, I don't know why not. They kill us.
Look at how many times they've done it.
This is how they do. So definitely, want people to express themselves. People have hurt feelings. So we're going to have a few moments of questions and people to, talk about how they feel as well. But we're going to talk about like our landscape of state murder, capital punishment in Missouri. What we can do. People, as soon as this happened with Khalifa, the first thing that kind of went viral is people like, oh, we need an initiative petition to get it on the ballot, next time, and outlaw the death penalty. It ain't that simple in Missouri. I wish it was. It's not that simple. So we're going to talk about our strategy, like why we can't do a petition at the moment. But guess what? If we have people support in the next 1, 2, or 3 years, we could do an initiative petition. We can, but we need people support. So definitely asking people to come out, and to learn and to connect with us who are doing the work. I was and real quick, I've been a little irritated, especially like that first week, because so many people in their outrage and their anger decided that they knew better how to deal with my work than I did. And they knew what to do. And obviously we weren't doing right, or we were not abolishing the death penalty. So they needed to do it. And I just kind of looked around. I didn't say a whole lot, because I'm like, you know what, but I did tell a few people, I need you to sit the fuck down, basically. Like, I need you to fall in line, because guess what? There's a lot of work that goes on, even in my city. I don't lead it. It ain't my shit. I literally take orders from other people, right? Even around the time of Khalifa's execution, there was something happening with our local jail. And it's not my, it's not my work directly, but I support it, right? So I showed up when I could. So really asking people to like take that anger and that frustration you're feeling and channel it into supporting the work that is ongoing, because there is work ongoing and we are trying to make a difference, but we need you. We need your support. So just giving people space to vent, but also like, this is our strategy. This is how we're going to get to the finish line. And we need you in order to help us get there. So we're asking people to get on tonight, to listen, to learn, to carry the message forward, and to really like see how they can get involved and support the work again, to abolish the death penalty in Missouri. And we also working on abolishing it federally, other states. Like we need, even if you don't live in Missouri, because I know a lot of people even listening on this show don't live here, but wherever you live, especially if you live in the South, they got a death penalty, right? Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma. Who else to kill some folks? Mississippi, Florida. If you live in these places, search Floridians Against the Death Penalty. It's an organization. Texas Coalition to Abolish the Death Penalty. One of my good friends works for that organization. So like search for these people in your own communities, in your own state, and get involved. Whatever that involvement looks like. If it's only a couple dollars, if it's showing up, if you got a talent, you know what I'm saying? I had talked to a lot of people after Khalifa's execution, want to draw, pictures and graphics and want to do all these memorial things. We needed you before that, right? So like get involved in whatever you can do, support us, support the work overall, and like just, amplify the issue that we need as a country to stop killing people, especially in this way. And we need to work on it, like the incarceration overall, that's killing people too. So we need to work on that as well.
ML Smith, Missourians Against the Death Penalty. Sister, thank you so much for
thank you, Jackie. Wow. Dr. Ball, thank you all very much. I appreciate all y'all support over these last couple years, not just a few months, but a couple years. So thank you.
Now, the support does not end. Now, as long as you're doing the work, we'll always support you and this work, because this is a part of what we believe also. So we appreciate you and anything you need. We know this is a really hard time. And to continue to do this work in the midst of this, we salute you, sis.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
All right. Welcome. This is the Remix Morning Show. This is a quick mental health break, as I want to talk to you real quick about being able to reach out to those that might be going through it. Sometimes we get caught up in our own world and we don't really think about what other people are dealing with. So I urge you at this time, tonight, I even challenge you to call somebody you haven't talked to in a while and just ask them how you've been doing. No judgment. Just ask them how they've been doing and listen. Give them an ear. Give them the space to feel what they want to feel and express it. That's all I ask for you to do for this mental health break. Reach out to someone and just listen. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and get back to the Remix Morning crew. But while you're here, like, subscribe, go to patreon.com, become a member over there and get footage that's rare. And oh yeah, go to the bottom of the screen of the website and donate, blkliberationmedia.org. Thank you. It's your mental health break right here on the Remix Morning Show. Now let's get back to our host.
Man, that sister. Oof.
Yeah, she's a good worker. She's a hard worker.
Good Lord. I
was going to ask her what she do for fun, but I decided,
what do you do? Like, where did Ear Doctor go? He just disappeared.
Oh, I was saying also that was nice. He got the nice therapeutic background.
Doctor's office.
The doctor's office. But yeah, really, like even she says she had reached out to her friend down in Florida. Just, people are going through it right now in Florida. Reach out to somebody you might have not spoke to in a while and just give them an ear and just, think outside of yourself. That's it.
What if you have not spoken to that person in a while for a reason?
Leave them alone.
call someone else.
Yeah, keep not talking to him.
Now I'm gonna call you about 30 minutes after the show. Just to see how you doing.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people you're not speaking to for a reason, though.
Oh no.
Oh, I asked. Oh, you got to tell me the name of the show again. Do you see my email?
Who you talking to?
Talking to Kim. Y'all told me the name of a show.
Black Mirror.
No, not that. Yesterday, y'all talked about some show that y'all said I should watch or we should watch.
We can't think that far back. Come on.
On this show.
On yesterday's Remix Morning Show, they was talking about some show on Netflix. Both of you, Ear Doctor and Kim agreed. It's like, oh, you got to check this out. It'll get you such and such and such. And I couldn't.
It wasn't the McMahon documentary.
No, but we were talking about the McMahon documentary. And they were talking about some other show. Because I asked, was it a movie or was it a show? And they said it was a show. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the whole.
Please, everybody, go back and look at the yesterday's show.
I don't know what the hell I said yesterday.
No, was it you? Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what I said 2 minutes ago.
Sorry, Kamal.
That's okay. That's okay.
Smoke a lot of.
I do have one.
Menendez, was it?
No, it wasn't Menendez.
I've been watching all the Menendez stuff.
That is so wild.
Why are they talking about? Why are they talking about reviewing your? I thought it was so obvious.
Because
Eastbound, and thank you so much, Sheila.
That show is funny. I can't front. That show is funny.
Now you do need to watch Eastbound and Down. It is deeply offensive, but it is goddamn hilarious.
It's funny. The Menendez. So the Menendi, as I heard someone say, and they got
not the Menendez.
There's been there's been like a sea change among the youth who are more apparently open, obviously, than our generation was to the idea specifically of boys and young men being abused, which was one of the major sticking points apparently with the first set of trials. And now people are saying we want that evidence to be considered. And all of the abuse that they were able to get into the first trial that got the hung jury, but they were not able to bring into evidence in the second trial at all. So it became much easier for the jury to say, well, them kids just shot the parents for the money. But when you look at the case more carefully, it's a lot more complicated than that, I think. And yeah, so I don't know. I've just been consuming, but that's been it. That was essentially what I gather is the thing that the youth have been pushing for, and they may get another look.
I heard they were. I heard that like the prosecutors or folks were looking at reopening the case or whatever.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't know a lot. But it seemed like, from what I remember, was some open and shut. The kids, like you said, like they plotted, shot the parents for the money, got busted. That kind of thing.
So one scenario was saying that they did it for the money because their father was going to write them out of the will. So they had to hurry up and get it done so that they could get the money. Another version is saying that was not the case. They were going to get the money anyway. So the issue wasn't getting the money. The issue was getting away from the trauma of the violence and the abuse.
How old were they when they killed the parents?
That was one of the hanging points because they were fully grown young men, and
they were over 18.
Yeah,
one of them was.
One of them was, or what? Yeah, one of them is.
The other one was like 19 or 20, wasn't he?
Well, I think one of them might have been 17, and the other one like 22.
Oh, is that what it was?
I think something like that. Somewhere in there. So they were 19 to 21, someone saying in the chat. I thought they were a little older or far apart in age than that. But the anyway, but that was one of the thing. Like, how could these young athletic men not just get away or just go away or just not be able to be abused? But they had a very much of a different version. So I don't know. I watch one thing, I'm like, they did it. They're as bad as everybody else. And I watch another thing and I'm like, their parents deserved it. And it's like, I got to be careful. That's why I encourage even my classes, you got to be careful and do your due diligence. Cause I'm easily swayed. I'll speak for myself. I can be swayed by a good documentary. That's why I think Ellen DeGeneres is Kaiser Sose for real. a well done YouTube video, and I'm like, she did all of this stuff. But but I'm just saying. So I don't know.
I gotta agree with you. I watched. I think there are 2 Menendez documentaries out now.
Right now,
at the same time, and I've watched them both.
And one of them's like part drama.
Yeah. So the part drama one is the one that really goes into the alleged abuse of the parents, not just the father, because apparently Mama was a piece of work too. Mama knew that the abuse was going on, and Mama was too protective of her comfortable life. She didn't want to mess that up. So the thing is, we have no way of knowing if what is true in this and what is dramatization, right? Because thanks to Dr. Ball's work, we understand that Hollywood is a lie, right? Hollywood is a lie. They don't tell the truth about anything. And any a true life documentary or anything that is adapted that the word, the adapted from true events, that's doing a lot of work in a lot of Hollywood movies, because what they might start with the beginning of a true event, but everything else in between is questionable. It's artistic license, right? So even looking at these documentaries and seeing all of the alleged abuse, I'm looking at it and it's like, that is terrible if it happened. The problem is there's no way for us to know if this is the artistic license of the documentarians or if this really happened. There's no way for us to know. So, but then there's also, we see the behavior, the alleged behavior of these 2 boys, which if I remember back in the 80s when it really happened, we were looking at how these kids were moving. Well, not kids. We were looking at how they were moving and just like, nah, they did that shit.
I was on that. I never paid any attention. I was like, of course they did it, and moved on. I haven't paid this much attention at all this entire time.
But now looking at these documentaries, it's like they're probably terrible people because they were raised by terrible people, I guess.
So part of what you're saying too with the art of the documentary, part of that is the part of art also is the art of trial. Right. And so trial is about creating narratives. It's not necessarily a quote unquote search for the truth, but it is about creating narratives about who people are, what happened to them, or what their response is, that kind of thing. And I'm not even suggesting that I know some better ways in which you try to bring evidence to the fore. But it's one of those decisions of like, so what happens when 2, relatively speaking, adults decide, even if you take their evidence as fact, like that they were abused, but what does happen even if they were abused, but the actions that they took were to basically kill both parents, not to escape or leave, even if they had psychological trauma or whatever. What does the society do? Even a sane, this is obviously insane society, but even in a sane society where you will hope the levels of this kind of insanity are diminished, but I'm sure even in more sane societies, unfortunate or terrible things will occasionally take place. And the question is, what is that society equipped to do to bring justice to it? Here, it just seems like it's a farce of, like you said, it could be a pendulum. And it's whether or not you have a good defense attorney. It's whether or not the evidence is presented in a certain way. So whether or not you got an attorney that can say, if it don't quit, you got to quit. I mean, if it don't fit, you got to quit.
You got to quit. That's right.
And it sticks in people's minds, right? So,
and that was part of the story, that after the first trial, they basically ran out of money and couldn't raise that same defense, and they weren't allowed to raise this. What I also thought was interesting, quickly off of that, what I learned from one of these documentaries is that apparently in the first trial, where all the evidence or all the claims were heard, it was split along gender in the jury. All the women were like, yeah, they were probably abused, and and all the men were like, nah, damn that, them kids, and one of the interviewees who was on the jury, she said, because the men could not get around the idea that boys at all would be abused and not ever be able to defend or get away from that. Like, that was their biggest thing. Like, it wasn't even so much were they abused. It was just like, it was the idea that they would not have been able to resist or get away was the bigger. So they were like, it couldn't be real. And I was like, yeah, that's, I was like, I don't think it worked, because there's a lot of psychological stuff going on here, and the stuff with the mother, I mean, who was herself in seemingly some sort of, one of them rich white women sort of abused situations, emotionally at minimum. I mean, it was, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
But then I think also the fact that, and this, I don't think if I think people who are not political wouldn't have paid any attention to it and wouldn't think that it matters at all. But I do think it kind of matters in some way that Dad was an expat from Cuba. He
That's a good point. I held that against him, Jackie. I can't front.
Daddy was a whole gusano. Daddy's whole point. His whole focus in life was to become rich and successful enough in the United States so that he could go back and take out Fidel Castro. That is literally in the documentary.
But does that make him an abuser of his kids?
Absolutely. So they need to be on that jury, because as soon as I would have heard that, I'd have been like, let them go. Let that boys go. Innocent. Not guilty. Just innocent. I was, and then he hired OJ for Hertz. The father did.
Yes.
That was another overlap. He worked.
Yes.
He was.
And then
he did Menudo.
Menudo. That's it.
Where one of the boys came out. He put them together and not brought them, but he helped popularize them in the United States. So that's, and then one of them, at least one, not Ricky Martin, but another one of them said that he was abused by the father too.
Oh, wow.
Now that came out later. That's right. So, but Jackie, I hate when I forget the good stuff. Jackie, that's exactly right. Because I was sitting there watching it. As soon as they said that part and went into his life, I was like, guilty, that motherfucker. Guilty.
I was sitting there. I was eating some soup, and that dude said, "That motherfucker Fidel Castro." I was like, "Oh no, you deserved it.
That's
right. Deserved it."
I was terrible, and they get pretty graphic with the footage in there too. Like I could have used a warning, to be honest with you, or another warning. Like I could have, because they get pretty graphic with the shotguns and all of that. It's like, damn.
And interestingly, they are very like verbally graphic, describing the abuse, and they did kind of stick to the way they did describe it in the trial. They did, and it was like, I didn't need to know. I didn't need to hear
that. But again, if I'm on the jury and I'm hearing that, I'm like, man, you guilty. Like, because they were if they were telling the truth, them boys suffered, man. So it's it'd be like between that and the Cuba thing, I'm like,
I mean, it's really, it's like, okay, but it's like, you at the end of watching both documentaries, I do come away with, dang, we really should not be judging people's guilt or innocence based on what we see in the media, because we don't know shit. Nine times we don't know anything unless we are there, unless we are in that courtroom, unless those are our people, and we don't know nothing. Because
can I share another one that's not quite at this scale, but just quickly in terms of Netflix documentaries? I did watch this one about Hope Solo versus West Soccer. And I will say it's fascinating, especially if you like the sport. It's a fascinating story about her life and all this other kind of stuff. But the headline for me was that, remember all that stuff about Megan Rapinoe and all of them saying we got equal pay and becoming sort of the celebrities of LGBTQ and feminist struggles and all of that? Well, in this documentary, if Hope Solo's version is correct, all of that was like the co-optation of a movement Hope had been a part of, that she got replaced on, and that for a lot of other like conflicts, she gets kicked out, replaced, and then these folks come back in and undercut her efforts to get actual equal pay and settle for what was ultimately just a $24 million settlement. They did not get equal pay. This has been completely misreported and fantasized. So when Hope was over there saying we wanted 401ks, pensions, retirement, health care, all they got was none of that and a single $24 million payment that basically bought everybody out. They get all the celebrity high fives and all of that. Hope gets sidelined. And I said, now, I don't know the details, and I'm only hearing a Netflix documentary, so warning flags, careful, all of that. But my bias is that fits perfectly. Because just like what they're saying, what Jigen is saying here, BLM'd. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's exactly what happens. Grassroots efforts emerge, and then they find the softer, payable, comfortable, and then you see Megan Rapinoe getting Biden, having Biden put the medal on her and all this other stuff, and you're like, exactly. Of course you're being rewarded because you didn't get shit. Here's 24 million. We don't give a fuck because there's no health care, there's no retirement, there's no nothing. Oh and then the promise was they will get equal pay with men if in time it is seen as being a viable option. That's what it was. And this is what got reported as equal pay, that they won some shit. It was crazy.
And then there's this little tidbit. Okay, wow. Oh my God. Elon says Megan Rapinoe is married to Sue Bird, and Sue Bird is a Zionist. Oh my God, the incestuous cabal of horrible people that we have to deal with. Good God.
Not quite incest, but that's another thing she brought up. She said one of the issues was that everybody was sleeping with each other. They're sleeping with trainers. They're sleeping with each other's partners. They're sleeping with the therapists. So she was like, that's one of the reasons like this little group has worked well together and got rid of her and anyone else who wanted to actually do some stuff. So it was. I
gotta close Kimathi's ears. He's too young to be hearing this kind of.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh I want to bring up the video that's slightly it's different, but it's something that Kim brought up. Sent to us, and it's got the Zionist mixture. It's got a weird character mixture. It's got with a propaganda mixture. And so this hit the airwaves a few days ago. I think you gave the TikTok version of it. Basically, a reporter at I guess the State Department Standard News Conference basically challenged the way, I guess, in which the State Department has been covering or talking about the genocide. And Kim, I don't know if you want to say anything else to set up the video.
What's the name of the reporter? His name is Colin something. I said, who is this child of God?
I was like, I've never heard of him. He did this long since state. I mean, it's short. This version is short, so we can play it and talk about it.
We often hear in response to these concerns that, well, Putin, Khamenei, they're war criminals, they're terrorists, as if they're too inherently evil or immoral for us to negotiate with. But meanwhile, this administration has financed a genocide in Gaza for the last year, and every day you're up there denying accountability for it. So, I mean, what gives you the right to lecture other countries on their moral?
So if you have a policy question for me, I'm happy to take it. If you want to give a speech, there are plenty of places in Washington where you can give a speech.
Yeah, but people are sick of the here. I mean, it is a genocide. You are abetting it, and you are risking nuclear war in Ukraine for this proxy war.
Plenty of other places to give a speech. Go ahead.
Who is this?
Child of God, like I said.
And a
reporter.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
His name is Colin something. He's got an Irish name.
Yeah, I don't know where he's from. Is it Liam Cosgrove?
Liam, sorry. I knew it was Irish.
For who though? Washington. Oh, what does that say? Oh, that's just a journalist.
Okay, journalist for Jesus out here.
Is Al Jazeera saying that?
No. He's not. This is going viral, and so a lot of different places have.
Oh, gray zone.
Up on it, and
not that great. Not.
Maybe it is a gray zone. Who knows? Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't knock the hustle though. I'm
not mad at that.
Yeah, he gave an eloquent
at all.
And he said it was bullshit. I mean, he called them out.
That was beautiful. That was a beautiful example of journalistic integrity under pressure. I thought that was gorgeous. That was perfect. Like, nah, I don't have a question. I need to know why you are facilitating the genocide, and you up here lecturing other people about morals and behavior. You amoral genocidaire with your bullshit. It was great.
Every day there's like clips from these press conferences, particularly at the State Department at this stage, where anytime the media tried to delve deep or ask questions about what U.S. policy, it's like the stonewalling. It's kind of on one hand, it's Israel's a sovereign nation. And there's another one that just came out a day ago where they're talking about how $22 billion has been given to Israel, I think they say, since the start of the genocide. And part of the conversation is, what influence does the United States have? And all of a sudden, the way that the Stephen Miller, I guess is his name. Matt will say it again. Matt Miller speaks about it. It's like, they're a sovereign nation and blah, blah, blah. It's like, so the United States, who will sanction everybody and anybody, blockade, go to war, all of a sudden, he wants to stand there and with a straight face, make it sound like they have no influence over a country they're giving $22 billion to. So it's that kind of bullshit and or stonewalling that I think obviously this reporter might have been predisposed to go after him the way he did. But the fact that he did, I think, I think all the reporters, all the people was just like, yeah, finally somebody just calls it straight up for what it is, kind of thing. It's supposed to play these word games of like all the back and forth that's been happening.
Yeah. And, we are used to folks dismissing our telling the truth about this system as, oh, that's Russian propaganda. Oh, that's Chinese propaganda. That's what the system always does and always has done when the blacks rise up and say, hey, this system is a white supremacist, settler, colonial, patriarchal, Zionist cesspool that is oppressive and is a capitalist dictatorship. The first thing people say, oh, you just rushing in misinformation. Like we need somebody in another country to tell us that we are oppressed and this system lies and this government kills people around the world at the same time that it's killing us here. We don't need anybody in Russia, China, Timbuktu, Taiwan, Nepal, the Philippines, the aliens. Nobody else needs to tell us what oppression is, because we are clear about oppression and who's doing the oppression. Similarly, when a white journalist is able to express the same truth, they're not doing it for Russia either. They're just telling the damn truth. And it's just very, very weird. It is such a ridiculous and weird flex that people are continuing this Russiagate bullshit in response to people telling the truth about what this system really, really is. Now, if you don't believe it, that's cool. You go right ahead. But at least give us enough credit to be angry and pissed off at what this system does, because we actually know what this system does. Stop blaming shit on the devil. Devil ain't got nothing to do with this. Russia has nothing to do with it. Russia's not making us do anything. The devil is not making us do anything. This system sucks, period.
So Jackie is 100% correct. I am curious about following their own logic briefly. So what if in fact it did require Russia to step in to show us the wrongs of the US? What does that still say about the US? I mean, so even if your colonized Negroes are truly as ignorant as you say, then what does it? I mean, it's still requiring someone else to correct the narrative of your own country. I'm just throwing that out there. But no, Jackie is correct. I find that illogic funny sometimes.
Do you have the other video? There should have been 3 in the email. Can you play the first one?
Which one? What's the name of it? Do you remember?
It's from Ali Mortada, my favorite Hezbollah fighter.
Oh yeah, your boyfriend. Yes.
Yes, my husband. Get the name.
My bad.
Title him properly. I'm happy to be his second wife. But
yes,
he's giving us updates from the front with in southern Lebanon, And obviously the reports coming out of, how Israel is bombing southern Lebanon, but you're not really getting too much about how the IDF forces are getting busted up out here. And Ali has got the real deal for us.
Come on.
Hello, my enemies. May you have a very, very bad day. Last update from the Lebanese front. Yesterday, a group of special forces, Israeli special forces, tried to blow up the city hall in Adaisi. They entered to Adaisi, and they carry a bomb with them to blow up the city hall. Hezbollah let them enter to Adaisi, and when they come near to the city hall, they engage with them with heavy fire, and the bomb that they carry to blow up the city hall in Adaisi blow up in them, and they go to God between injured and dead. Until now, Hezbollah has killed 25 officers and soldier, has injured 100 soldier, more than 100 soldier, and after a 1 year of bombing and airstrike to all this area, this fighting area, and this area is destroyed after all this attack. Only Kfar Kila, you bombed Kfar Kila 600 times in the last year, and you couldn't go to Kfar Kila and to Adaisi. Also in Yarun and Marun and Aitarun, your army tried to go into Yarun, they got blown up, they got ambushed, and when a Merkava tank arrived to Jabal Blat near Marun, also the resistance blow it up. So the situation is like that after killing all the commanders in Hezbollah, after bombing this area for 1 year, and after all this crimes against humanity and crimes against civilians, and after all this war for 1 year, 5 days of ground fighting, and you couldn't take any point in the Lebanese land. This is the last update from Lebanon, and as advice, I want to say, it's Lebanon, idiots. It's Lebanon. You will never succeed in Lebanon. Take care, ya baby.
He's so dreamy. So, according to what we're hearing, Hezbollah is reorganizing their leadership, right? So they're not going to have a hierarchical leadership any longer because their commanders, as you heard Ali say, that they've been all targeted for assassination by Israel. So now they're going to have a less hierarchical structure and have more so of a war council and advisory instead of, the top Hezbollah commander and then their subordinates. So Hezbollah is reacting, and I believe Ali when he says that the ground invasion of of Lebanon by the Israelis probably not going great, but all the footage that we're seeing, obviously the air bombing campaign has been deadly, and it's killed thousands of Lebanese, targeting soft structures, targeting their healthcare infrastructure, including hospitals, ambulance. So many healthcare providers have been murdered by Israeli forces, but Hezbollah seems to be strong and willing to fight and do what needs to be done on the ground, apparently with some success.
It seems to be the same tactics as, again, what they started in Gaza, which, we showed some video the other day, was the total demolition of every structure. So, all the BS around targeting, and I think you brought this up, Kim, is like the real target is what they're doing is to destroy all of the infrastructure. This is not a misuse. It's not a mistake. It's not an accident. This is their military plan, which is destroy cities and bury people under rubble. And so, the resistance is still fighting back on a ground invasion. But there's a lot that's going on. Yeah.
And hitting Haifa, from what I understand. Like, there was another video Ali posted, and he was like, your dream, talking to Netanyahu, all these videos I think are directed personally at Netanyahu. But he said, your dream of resettling the north of Israel, he said, that's not going to happen. He said, you can forget that. That's not going to happen. And he claimed, Ali Mortada claimed that 6 Hezbollah rockets actually, he said, knocked on the door of Tel Aviv. I love the way way people who have Arabic as their first language, I love the way it translates into English. When he says, we had 6 Hezbollah missiles knocked on the door of Tel Aviv and landed.
I love how he said, and the bomb that they brought to blow up the town, it blow up on them.
It blow them up. Yes. And they blow up. In the tank, they blow up.
They blow up. In the tank come and they blow up.
And then some sea got to.
That was
how could you not root for Hezbollah in this fight? I mean, how can you not root for all the resistance? But I mean, that gentleman there, I mean, if I say BDE, y'all understand what I mean by that, right? Like, I mean, he don't strike me as a dude that's afraid. Like, nothing about his effect is like I'm scared or what's. Nope, I don't think so. I think he's ready to stand on business, as the kids say.
Well, speaking of
sorry.
You want to say something about the?
No, I didn't see the time. I see it now. Never mind.
Well, speaking of standing on business.
Hey. Thank you all for tuning in again to a beautiful day on the Remix Morning Show, as it is 1 minute after 10.
Wow.
Oh, good luck. Really?
Wow.
Y'all did a great show. That's why I stuck around and made sure that we got it all in before we got out of here.
My manifesto doesn't know what BDE is, so somebody in the chat want to.
I don't know either. So yeah, does it have to be put in the chat? Somebody put it in the chat before we go, so I can understand. If we can't say,
I feel like if you don't know,
I'm ignorant.
Oh, I know what it means. Oh, okay.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Took you a minute, but you got there. All right.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right. So we're gonna end it on this.
That man got that BDE, inshallah. Yes, he does.
All right. So what shows we got coming up with these hosts on the screen? We got anything?
Hey, real quick. So the ML Smith bio video is now posted, so you can immediately go check that out if you missed it already. It's a great discussion that will elevate from where we just left. Yeah. And and then we're back tomorrow morning for sure, right? Anything else? What else?
Yes, we are.
Jackie, you got anything darker than blue?
Yep. So last week I did the reading of I Will Not Vote, W.E.B. Du Bois's 1956 essay that was published in The Nation. And this week I'm going to go through that and kind of talk about some of the things that he talks about that I know people did that they don't understand. The relevance of some of the people he mentioned he talked about in that essay, people like Eastland and Hoover and Eisenhower, and why those names matter to what we are going through right now. So that's tomorrow's Darker Than Blue.
All right, and go get your snack and come back and check out me and Kim Brown for Classical Breakdown Music 101 as we talk about Patrice Rushen.
I will say real quick, at 1:00, I'll be live on my channel with Professor Cooper, part 2 of Black Sporting Resistance.
I started watching that. That looked real good.
Yes, I think it might get a little might be slightly turned up today.
Oh, what time is that, Jared?
1:00. Okay. 1:00.
All right, and to wrap it up, what is your Kamal doing?
Oh, nothing. But
exactly.
Back here tomorrow.
I will be back here tomorrow, and I wanted us to talk for those who are going to be here. I wanted to follow up on the coach thing. There's this great. I got to find the article again. Mm-hmm. This inside article about the back and forth the staff has been having, how the management has been acting, how the reporter has been acting, all based on the interview in CBS. I want to dive a little deeper into that because that was hilarious. The way
please send that around. If it's not the same one I've been reading, I'd like to read it. But I'll invite you and anyone actually on Friday. I forgot a week from tomorrow. Mtume Gant is going to be back on after the morning show to talk about Coates, another set of articles around Coates, and some of his own experience with the Coates-like folks in Black Hollywood. Coates adjacent folks, I should say, in Hollywood. So if you want to hang out, there's going to be a lot of Coates related material on the platform over the next couple Fridays. So anybody want to join us, feel free to stick around after the morning show next week.
All right, and I do 7 shows a week on this channel, so catch one of them. All right, and we out of here. Come back tomorrow morning right here on the Remix Morning Show.
Hey.